I feel a need to talk about this character, but not necessarily a need to go over the trailer. You guys can look at the trailer and like just feel what you feel about the trailer. I don't really have like a lot I want to say. I tried making this video already, but evidently OBS switched the codec up on me. So either that or like I had to switch the codec or do some editing in OBS of the settings and I messed something up. So like the first video was bad. So I'm going back over this as quickly and succinctly as possible. So when it comes to Final Fantasy characters that you would think would be in Tekken, Tifa is at the top of the list because right now they're remaking Final Fantasy VII. They're doing a lot of things with Final Fantasy VII. There's Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, Crisis Core Reunion, maybe potentially a Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus remaster or remake in the future, depending on how Final Fantasy VII's remakes pan out. And yeah, so Tifa is a character in Final Fantasy that is a martial artist. She has some magic powers to some extent, and to another extent, she's just a martial artist that's very, very strong. And in the universe of Final Fantasy, characters can be strong and they could do very unrealistic feats. In Tekken, characters can do unrealistic feats too. We've seen them. There's fantasy characters in Tekken, and this is something that can't be denied. This is something that I talk about, and I talk about ad nauseum about like with other Tekken players every so often because there are some Tekken players that just don't understand context, but I'll get into that here in a bit. Clive, I think, is a bad pick for a DLC character. I feel like this character is product placement, and you want to know what product placement means? Product placement means it's product placement is when a company allows their product to be in a form of media. This could be in a comic book, this could be in a TV series, this could be in a movie, it could even be in a video game. But it's when they allow their product to be in any one of these mediums, and basically it's mutually beneficial. Not only does the person or the company or the movie, the TV, not only do they benefit from like financial backing from the company that has their product placed within the media, but the company has their product. I'm sorry, that text threw me off. The company has their product placed in the media, so it gives them more exposure. It gives both people more exposure, basically, right? That's what product placement can do by financial backing, by advertising, whatever to whomever, yada yada yada. That's what product placement is. Sorry, I've gone on this way too long now as it is, and the reason why I say Clive is product placement is the same reason I think that, looking back, Noctis is product placement. Like, they're two characters that don't really seem like they fit in the game. Like, Clive seems like he's better left as like a Soul Calibur character, but for whatever reason, Bandai Namco, they seem to think that Soul Calibur isn't worth it to produce anymore, even though they'll make an infinite amount of these throwaway arena fighters or experimental AA games like that. Dragon Ball Survivor, Tokyo Ghoul Call to Exist years ago was one of them. The last Black Clover game, that Demon Slayer game with horrible netcode. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Anytime people bring up Bandai Namco and like what Tekken almost did, like how Tekken almost died because of Tekken Tag 2 and its sales, I like to bring up a lot of the anime games that Bandai Namco produces. Says a lot of people are playing it, but you never know if anybody's actually playing it or not, or just didn't ever have any accolades when it came out. I mentioned Black Clover as like the last game, but Jujutsu Kaisen is a game that people were vastly disappointed in, and I believe that they're actually making a second one. My Hero Academia, what was it? One's Justice, I believe, was the name of the game or whatever. I think that they made two of those games, but they stopped making those games because they were just disappointing, unless like they appeal to like the core fan base. they're not really going to sell outside that core fan base. They need to appeal to a broader audience, which they didn't really get until they got like Dragon Ball Fighters. I feel like Dragon Ball Fighters helped bring a lot of people into 2D fighting games, right? And it helped people gain a respect for it. But I'm kind of getting a little far away from what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to tell you is that they didn't really give Soul Calibur a chance after 6. It seems like they're done with the IP, but Clive would have made a better DLC character for Soul Calibur, and many people are saying this. I'm not going to say everybody, just many people. And Clive just feels like product placement because nobody, I won't say nobody, because it's impossible to know if everybody didn't really care for him to be added to the game. But most people wanted Tifa because they know that Tifa's a martial artist, and that makes sense within the context of Tekken. And, there's a lot of characters in Tekken that have supernatural abilities. Kazuya is one of them, even though like they let Clive lean into his supernatural abilities way more than Kazuya can, even when Kazuya is in his devil mode in Heat, or even more than Devil Jin, who's nothing but supernatural abilities. You know what I mean? Like, I get that there are characters in Tekken with supernatural abilities, but it's not that many that are like that. You understand what I'm saying? Out of like 70 plus characters in Tekken's rich history, there's probably like 12 characters with supernatural abilities. It's not that many. And it's a stupid argument to present to somebody. Like, imagine me saying that, I think that Dragon Ball Sparking Zero should have a guest character. And I say that the guest character should be, Ken Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul, just since I mentioned Tokyo Ghoul Call to exist. Or, hey, I say it should be Naruto. Like, what the fuck would you do? Would you say that that doesn't make any sense because most characters in Dragon Ball could kill Naruto? Or what if I say that I think that Goku should be a guest character in, I don't know, the next Demon Slayer game or the next Jujutsu Kaisen? What the fuck would you look at me at like? You know what I mean? What would you look at me like? Would you look at me like I was fucking crazy? Like, this is what I mean when I say Clive doesn't really match. Like, yes, yeah, Devil Jin, he had like this wing for a second. It was super edgy, yada yada yada. Jin can't do any of this shit, even in devil form. It just doesn't match. You know what I mean? And even if like we use Angel Jin or True Devil Kazuya like in the story mode, like this dude is getting off more crazy stuff than they did. Honestly, they didn't really do all that much. They did some stuff with the lasers, and that's about it. Clive is like cutting through dimensions. He's teleporting. He's using the power of lightning. He's harnessing fire and all this stuff. Like, I'm not saying that it could never exist in Tekken. Hell, even Jinpachi in Tekken 5 had a costume in DR where he was all fire. I'm not saying that this couldn't possibly ever be a thing that would make sense for Tekken. I'm just saying like it makes more sense with Soul Calibur. Like, it would make more sense for Clive to fight Nightmare. Clive is like and from a timeline that Square Enix was so concerned about putting black people in because they didn't think that black people existed in Europe in the time that Clive's game is like representing and shit. Like, he's that far back in time. What is he doing in Tekken? It doesn't make any sense. He took a portal to the future. 2B didn't make sense for Soul Calibur, but she's a character with weapons, so it's like you in your mind can mentally visualize that. And like I said, there are characters with powers, and I keep going back to this because everybody's like, well, not everybody. Some people say that Elisa Boskanovich is a cyborg with chainsaw arms. Kuma is a character that is a bear that can do karate. And it's like, within the context of Tekken, a lot of these things do make sense. Like, science advancements in Tekken's universe, I know it sounds funny to say, like, yeah, I'm a Tekken fan and I know about Tekken's story, but the advancement of science in Tekken's universe like far exceeds like regular science, like from the real world IRL. So yeah, there's cyborgs, there's androids, they have machines with a lot of strength. There are demons that are they prove that there's proof that they actually exist. 100% proof. in Tekken's universe. So that makes sense. You know what I mean? Alex and Roger, people bring them up, and it's like, yeah, they experimented on DNA of a dinosaur and DNA of a kangaroo, and they made Roger like a kangaroo that has boxing gloves because kangaroos sometimes are associated with boxing or kickboxing because they're very strong. Like, those are joke characters. Yoshimitsu, he's a ninja. Like, there's ninjas and dead or alive. You know, Kunimitsu's a ninja. I get it. There are characters with powers. It makes sense. Tekken is a game where the tournaments are kind of win by any means necessary, and that is fine. I understand that. But does this mean that Big O, that fucking Gundam Wing Gundam Heavy Arms should be a next DLC for Tekken? No, it doesn't. That's why I think people that make that argument are fucking stupid and like so surface level. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I could tell you all day about like how Kazuya's devil powers are kind of cheating and like how he's stronger than most characters because of it. But I can't tell you how this fucking wolf being in the game, biting a motherfucker's neck, this Phoenix shooting, like, look at what we're watching right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying like it's crazier than Tekken 8 has been. Tekken 8 is pretty crazy, but by and large, most of the characters are not like this, and I don't know why the series goes in this direction more often than not now, where, you know, they try and lean into like the I don't know, like 10-15% of the characters that can kind of keep up with this, and like, where does this leave somebody like Asuka Kazama? Like, it doesn't really leave her anywhere. She has powers, but they're not like, you know, powers that are like, you know, physical or anything along those lines. Clive, I believe, is product placement. This character doesn't really make sense for Tekken. This character doesn't really make sense as a pick. Most people wanted Tifa. And, you know, I heard this cope as well on Twitter. People saying that people don't understand that there's more than Final Fantasy VII. Like, I know that there's more martial artists in Final Fantasy. I don't know them all. You know, I know Zell in Final Fantasy VIII is a martial artist. I know that Snow, I don't know if I call him a martial artist, but he's a brawler in Final Fantasy 13. But, you know, they still make more sense than Clive. You know, like, I just don't understand why they went with the most blatant product placement instead of like this is the latest character in the numbered series. You know, they didn't go with the character. I don't even know if Final Fantasy 16 did better than 7 remake or 7 rebirth. You know, but it just blows my mind. Like, there's no way Clive is as popular as Tifa has been her entire life, and they use Clive because product placement. They probably went to Square Enix and said, "Hey, can we use a character?" And they were like, "Yeah, use this guy, no one else." And I don't vibe with it. I just think that this is it's kind of pathetic. And we could have had a character from Tekken's rich history. You know, Bruce Irvin, Baekdo-san, Wang Jinrei. We don't know if they're dead. People think that they're dead because 2 of them are old, and one of them has like been in a coma before or whatever. And Wang Jinrei is really old. I wouldn't be surprised if he was dead. We don't know what happened to Bruce. You know, Bob isn't in the game. Thank goodness. Nobody likes him. Master Raven's just gone. There's no Gigas. There's no Katarina. There's no Josie. Fakum Ram's gone too. You know, no Alex or Roger. No Ganryu, no Lei Wulong, no Julia Chang, no Michelle Chang, no Kunimitsu 1 or 2. There's like so many characters I'm mentioning right now that could be in the game. Armor King, Dr. B. Like, I could go so long naming all the characters that Tekken fans grew up with and would so appreciate. But they gave us Clive Rossfield as a character, bro. It's nuts to me. He even looks like Miguel, but Miguel's arc is finished. I understand that. But this character, another reason why I'm kind of against guest characters, and I'm not fully against them. I understand the need and the marketing for it. Like, you want to draw in a bigger audience. I get it. But another reason I'm against these characters is they're licensed for one game. If you love this character, you're never going to play with this character again. That's why we didn't get Noctis. We have Clive. You'll never have a character that plays like Noctis again because it was a one-time license. Same thing with Akuma. Same thing with Geese. Same thing with this character. You're not building any sort of you know, not tolerance, but what's the word I'm looking for? You're not building any sort of like rapport with the series. I feel like that's the best word I can come up with right now. You're not building anything on the series. You're just getting it for like this one shiny thing. And what do you have after that? Nothing, bro. You just have a bunch of characters you don't even like. Maybe you get into the game, but maybe that's not enough. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Let me know what you feel about it. I feel like Clive is product placement, and I feel like that they could have did a better job and picked a better DLC character. People have been screaming at them because I'm a Kiryu from Yakuza, Akira from Virtua Fighter. No, we have to have the least likely character of like the current year. It's ridiculous. But I'm not gonna hate on if you like it. I'm not trying to sound like a hater, but it just feels like they could have did better. The stage doesn't even make any sense. That's supposed to be Clive fighting himself in the background, and here he is.